Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's daylight again, and for those who are sober, it's like a good thing. If for those who are hungover, go back to bed, drink some like tomato juice and vodka, and you'll feel better tomorrow morning. It's a day later, but someone who's not going to be drinking vodka or tomato juice, at least this minute, is Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
Yes, no tomato juice for me at all. And I don't have the Mother Jefferson Daily Bloody Mary either.
Oh, you're missing out. You should do that. It's good for the liver.
Well, I guess there's vitamins like vitamin A, right?
Vitamins, yeah. There's like vitamin C,
Yeah,
and
see,
not the Crockett type, not the Jasmine Crockett C.
it's practically a health drink.
You know, if you put some protein in it, it would be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger. What would you call it? A bloody Arnold?
Ooh, heyo.
That'd be kind of a cool drink. The bloody Arnold. That could catch on in California. That could be popular out there. You know.
I guess so. That would seem to make sense.
Well, as much it makes sense as much as anything else in California these days. Just saying. So you know.
Yeah. Well, think about this. We could be seeing Governor Harris one of these days.
I think that'd be interesting. So, by the way, you know, for the Patriots, you know, we had our friend Cherie Curry who lives in the Valley in LA. So she's a victim of the California dreaming. So should be California scheming.
Oh, or night.
California scheming like Gavin. I don't know. So Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris. I don't know how those people have any redeeming qualities as human beings, let alone politicians. I wonder how these people get into positions of authority. I mean, I really do. Gavin, he's the ultimate slicky boy. He's like the used car salesman on steroids.
Well, here's how I see.
And Kamala is like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's how I see this. A lot of the country is made up of emotionalists, people who vote or think strictly via emotions. They will make all their decisions, or a vast majority of them.
That's true. That's true.
They feel feelings aren't facts. They don't like a lot of these people. Also see Donald Trump as that boss that comes into your workplace and makes everybody do their jobs, rather than hang out with cigarette breaks every 5 minutes and don't let you slack off, that sort of thing. And they hate that kind of person. They see Kamala Harris as somebody that, well, they're not threatened by. They're not afraid of her, and they like her because she's so funny and cute, and and they want to have that first woman president. But that's it. There's no real reason why anybody would support Kamala Harris other than those three. No, not one of their supporters would say anything.
I don't know.
Policy. Well, think about it. What about her?
I don't know. I think Willie Brown was a pretty big supporter of her for a while. Let's not go down that path this morning.
He did extend an olive branch to her. Yes,
he extended a lot of things to her, and she took them all.
Well, he didn't have to go.
Anyway, I don't want to. I told you I don't want to go down the path. I don't. Let's talk about something. Another path that
he started.
I know. It's always my fault. Anyway, let's talk about another funny female. As in, like funny, tragic, not funny, haha, which is a woman, an admiral named Richardson. This is a cautionary tale of what hill to die on, and not hanging up pictures is not a hill to die on, but apparently it was for her. It's like, okay, Admiral. So for the Patriots, a little bit of background. I posted this yesterday. It's been slippery slope. But we don't want to talk about Willie right now and sloping. Just saying. Yeah, I know. Well, no, that's Red Ginger said that in the chat. I am paying attention, just ignoring it. Anyway, back to the Admiral and NATO. So my friend Blaine Holt, General Holt knows her. She was his relief the first time around. She was a deputy chief. She replaced Blaine, and there she is, all bright-eyed and woke. And apparently, she was sent to the Navy War College, and she, you know what her job was there, Chris? You want to guess?
Was it to run the DEI department?
No, to make it turn it into DEI, turn the whole Navy into it. CI department. She was an admiral. She wasn't like a commander. She was like the person in charge. So her job was, and she's done it by all accounts. I'm hearing this from people still in the service. She did yeoman's work, to use a Navy term, in turning the Navy into a woke service. As a matter of fact, I'm hearing right now from my sources that of all the services that are resisting, the Navy is most resistant to getting rid of woke. And so look at she's woke zero or ground zero for woke. So she's the one. Anyway, so fast forward, she goes back to be our senior military rep at NATO, a 3-star admiral. And did you hear that Trump won? Chris, did you hear about that?
I thought I heard something like that.
Yeah. So when Trump won, he starts appointing people, like Pete Hegseth, my friend Pete. And of course, nuts. Can I say nuts? I think I can say nuts safely. Nuts like Richardson just didn't care. It's like, yeah, we're going to wait him out.
That's what they try to do. That's what hey, it worked in 2016.
It did.
2017, apparently.
It did. No, I know it did because I witnessed it and I watched it firsthand. With that said, in this case, she had a town hall. Like she brought everybody in. It's like, yeah, that Trump guy. We're in Europe. We don't care. We're going to be all above it all. It's like, okay, Admiral, I don't think it's going to work. And so obviously word gets back to Pete and to Sean, and they get word that, hey, there's this nutty admiral, and she's like the captain of the good ship Nutty Bunch, and she's like saying she's not going to play ball. And I guess she forgot which Navy she was in. Chris, is that possible? Could a U.S. Navy forget what Navy they're in? Is that possible? I think it's possible because apparently she was a victim of that belief that she wasn't in the U.S. Navy.
Well, she certainly wasn't in. She certainly wasn't in McHale's Navy, and she certainly was not in CPO Sharkey's Navy. I got to tell you, CPO Sharkey would be very upset with all the woke stuff going on. He didn't like some of the reforms in the 70s, but the fact is, you can't build a good military on wokeness. Yes, okay, you might be able to get a nice little organization going to yamp around to people, but you just can't sacrifice our national security just to push a global social agenda. Again, the idea is to weaken the first world.
Well, and I think maybe that's why she thought she was in the World Economic Forum Navy, which I guess doesn't exist. But anyway, so it's announced yesterday that she got fired. And of course, Jasmine Crockett, is it Crocker or Crockett? Crockett, I think. All upset.
It's Yasmin Croquet.
Yasmin Croquet.
That's her.
I had salmon croquets growing up. Is that what she's named after? Like salmon croquet?
It's her.
They were good too. Very tasty. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. Anyway, back to the admiral. So apparently, according to Jasmine Croquet, she got fired. The admiral got fired because she wouldn't hang up a picture. No, that's not it. That's not it. I don't think that's the issue. The issue is you can't be an admiral loyal to the Constitution and abide by your oath of office, which says you will take and accept directives from those appointed above you. You got to go. And so she was fired.
Right.
Yeah, she's fired. So
listen to your commander-in-chief. Hey, she did it for 4 years before that, and that commander-in-chief was well, let's put it this way, a DOA out to lunch or whatever you want to call it. I did find, by the way, the World Economic Forum Navy.
Ooh, now that you
mention it, here is the World Economic Forum Navy flagship right here.
There it is.
That's right.
Yeah, she's going to be navigating off that for the rest of her career. That's
she could take.
She'll do well at that.
Her too. Yes,
that's right. That's right. Jasmine Croquet playing with on the golden the SS Golden Throne. USS Golden Throne. Ahoy! Ahoy there! Hey, there's the tiny ball man. Pull aside. She can get her own pirate with a parrot. Aye, matey, aye. You scurvy dog.
I don't know. Maybe she thinks parrots are racist or something, just like math.
Yeah. Or she could get Squidward. Squidward from SpongeBob. That's,
Okay.
you know.
Well, she sure as heck isn't going to get somebody as cool as Squiggy. So that's not going to happen.
No, I'm sure that's not going to happen. No.
And we like Squiggy here. Hello.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah. So anyway, she's been dethroned. Just saying. Just saying. Not that there's
She'll
anything
be
wrong.
on her new throne. I suggest that Donald Trump shouldn't have fired her. Should have reassigned her to the ambassador to the Sandwich Islands.
Sandwich Islands. What's at the Sandwich Islands? Plenty of mayo.
Well, maybe she can make some walruses and penguins woke, or I should say, maybe just.
Ooh, ooh. I'd send her to the Falkland Islands and let her defend against the penguins there. So
I would not send her to Svalbard like some people might want to send her to, because while that's remote, I don't want any woke leftist anywhere near the international food supply in case of an emergency, or I should say the international seed supply in case of an emergency. So Sandwich Islands it is.
Sandwich Islands. I wonder if they have a good pastrami there. I would hope.
She should make us a sandwich. Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Well, she's gonna be making someone a sandwich, because she ain't gonna be driving any ships anytime soon. I'll say that.
Not like Kamala Harris making Willie Brown a sandwich. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
had to go down.
Well,
again.
No, well, I think that's interesting. You should bring it up, because I think does Gavin Newsom have a Navy? Because she could be in charge of Gavin Newsom's Navy, and she could like go along the Pacific coast, looking for big old floating debris like plastic. California, I think they don't like talking about it, is the biggest single producer of plastic waste in the world. Did you know that? You could make multiple boats a week out of the plastic that Californians throw away. You could have this big old plastic boat made of just 7-Up and Coca-Cola can plastics, and that could be fun, don't you think? That'd be a great project for her. Hey, Admiral, Gavin Newsom wants you to make him a boat, and you can take all the plastic waste from San Diego, LA, and San Francisco, put it together, and you'd have the boat the size. I'm not joking. You could have the size of the Titanic in about a month, based on all the plastic they throw away. And I'm not joking about this. I'm not joking about this.
But I did find Gavin Newsom's Navy.
There it is.
There he is. Gavin. We found the World Economic Forum Navy, the Gavin Newsom Navy. Maybe I should go look for Justin Trudeau's Navy. Oh, wait a minute. He doesn't have one. Because
no. Yeah.
You fired
But
Justin.
But he can now wear a variety of eyebrows. Nobody's going to be criticizing for changing his eyebrows on a daily basis.
He'll be selling fake eyebrows on QVC.
Yeah, that's good. So there's a lot. I don't feel sorry for those for Patriots. Don't feel sorry for the Admiral. I'm sure she'll end up in some cushy job doing DEI, DIA, whatever. She'll be doing something with D in the label, I think, right?
Yeah, dumbass, maybe, as
don't ask
about it, as Red Foreman would say.
I wouldn't ask. I wouldn't ask. We'll talk more about this a little bit when Maness comes in. When Colonel Maness
we have Colonel Maness coming in. Oh, yeah. Did you get to see our Secretary of Treasury talk to Tucker Carlson recently?
I saw excerpts. Let's talk about it. It's good.
Yeah, I want to bring in an excerpt here. The most poignant thing he said, there are a lot of poignant things he said, but something that we discuss here frequently on this program.
Oh, by the way, just for the note, that guy's gay, but who cares? Just for the record.
It's nothing.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
What people do behind closed doors is none of our business.
I'm just pointing out that we don't use that as a qualification. Just saying, but keep going.
If you're good at what you do, there's no DEI there. It's called M.
That's right.
Merit. MMM. Merit, and merit.
That's right.
All right.
Yep.
So he's talking to Tucker Carlson, and he says a lot of the things that we've said over the last many years doing radio and television together here, Tony. And you've probably said this more so before you met me. So let's hear what he had to say about the middle class and the deliberate destruction of that middle class.
That's what President Trump is doing now. For years, the American worker middle class has been eviscerated. American workers have taken it on the chin. And, we're just starting to see some of the research now. Like, we're seeing research on what's called the China shock from 2004 It's just coming out now. And it's what you know, it's what I know. But finally, academics are saying, oh, the American workers never recovered from the China shock. What a surprise. And President Trump sensed it 40 years ago, but got on the campaign trail starting in 2015. Up until last year, he has promised the American workers that the old standard of living can come back. And because what we've seen over the past at least 20 years since the China shock, but more like the past 30, are these massive distributional problems.
Yeah, let's walk through this a little bit. So he said several things there which are important. I want the Patriots to understand, and for this to be an evergreen that everybody pays attention to. First, the China issue. When we opened up free trade with China, the first thing that happened, and with NAFTA and other agreements, is that when businesses found that there was no tariff, then the first thing they did is abandon the American workers. Like, we can make things for 15 to 20 times more inexpensive in China than making it here in the United States. And then, by the way, because it's going to cost us some money to bring it back, 10, 15% of value through all these container ships. And don't get me wrong, I love trains. I love seeing these long trains full of Chinese containers. You see them all over the place on the BNSF main line. Mm-hmm. I love that stuff. But the problem is this. The production of all that stuff turned our retail establishments to cheap China goods. You can't walk into Walmart. You can't walk into Home Depot, Lowe's, any other big box store without 90% of the goods being from China. Right, Chris? I mean, you walk in, it's all Chinese.
That's
because
fair. That's fair.
American businesses figured, I don't need you, American worker. And who did they turn to for political support? Businesses? The Democrats, the party of the little guy. And then the messaging was, oh, no, you just got to accept a lower standard of living. It's tough. Hillary Clinton, we're going to shut your coal plants down and make you code.
Wait, that was Barack Obama. He wanted to bankrupt the coal industry. That's what he said.
Yeah. So what happened, and Besson's completely correct, there is this trend where the American worker, the blue-collar worker, was buffaloed. They were made to believe by their leadership, the Democrats, it's inevitable. You just got to accept it, But Trump figured out, and I think we recognize this. The American workers don't want welfare. They want a job. They want an opportunity. They want to go toe-to-toe with the Ruskies. No, it's a different movie. They want to go toe-to-toe with the Chinese and try to out-manufacture them with a higher quality and everything else. I mean, that's what they want. And so, of course, during this time, the American worker starts waking up. It's like, there's something wrong here. And so the rank and file starts leaving the Democrats, coming to Trump, but the leadership stays with the left until this last election. They finally got the memo. And then in the meantime, you had this green new energy deal. It's all Marxism retool for the 21st century. Let me be clear. I say it all the time. I'm saying it again. There is no man-made climate crisis. It does not exist. If there's global warming, and there may be a minor bit, that's a good thing, because we have a coming ice age in about 5,000 years. So let's try to stay ahead of that. And by the way, more global warming means longer growing seasons and more crops. And by the way, CO2 is not a greenhouse gas. It's made of water and oxygen. It's all, it's a CO2. Well, it's carbon and oxygen, which becomes a component of water. Water is a potential greenhouse gas because of causing steam and clouds, but CO2 by itself is not. So let's bring up this knucklehead.
But Prince Harry said that this is all about global warming.
Let's talk.
Many of us feel battered, helpless in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation.
Endless.
I understand. This has been a painful year in a painful.
Yeah.
We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe.
Every corner.
Yep.
Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet.
Yes,
that's right. In my backyard, in my pants.
You know what? You know why it's a horrible decade and it's a tough decade? Because we have to watch you and Meghan Markle on television all the time.
Well, apparently that's not going well. I just got this flash on my phone. Apparently it's all over. No. I didn't know you were going to bring it up, and I get this on my phone. It's like, really?
Oh, I just had to throw it in when you said climate change. We got to go back
to the
Northwest thing.
It came up on my phone, so it's breaking news. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they're done. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, I think the fact that Prince Harry looked an awful lot like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's boyfriend, and the two of them never were in the same room together.
That's curious. It, right? Yeah, I think it's curious. I think it's very curious. I'd look into that if I were investigative reporter, but I'm not.
Right.
But anyway, I want to continue. I want to continue with this rant on what we're talking about. So yesterday, Donald J. Trump, each president of the United States, had all the coal miners in. You know, isn't there a song about that? Coal Miner's Daughter. That's a movie about that. Yeah. Sissy Spacek, I think. Yeah.
No, they never gave Crystal Gale any credit for that. But hey, they were sisters.
No,
they were sisters.
Anyway,
Loretta Lynn and Crystal Gale.
Anyway, I know, Sean. I ruined your day. It's my job. I do it well. Thank you. Anyway, back to the movie. So President Trump says we've had enough of this global fixation. This global, I don't know what you want to call it. It's been a dangerous fixation on something that does not exist. And they've been doing it, this Green New Deal, this energy. And I was listening to NPR yesterday. They have a new special on YouTube aimed at frightening kids. It's like, we need to get youth involved. No, you don't. There's no climate crisis. And anyway, so yesterday he brings that and it's like, hey, American coal is back, baby. The Chinese are opening something like 12 plants a month, if not more. It's time we come back. Yeah, go ahead, play it a little bit.
Thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.
There you go.
It's funny. The left has systematically
green scam. That's right.
The left has systematically sold out and destroyed the very people they claim to have wanted to support.
Exactly. Exactly. It's been a lie. Right. And this is the one thing I'm asking all the patriots to do. Go out and try to talk to your Democrat friends. I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, I said, Chris, you all don't know this. I sent Chris yesterday a note saying, hey, invite this person on. They won't come on. But it's like, invite them on. I'm willing to have a discussion with an extreme lefty. And I'm sure they're going to say no. I'm positive they're going to say no. But I offer the opportunity that let's talk about this stuff. This is something, Harry was getting pictures and naked in the pool. I wouldn't want to see those pictures if I were you. I don't know.
I don't think so either. I'd rather see him than Meghan, though.
I don't know.
Meghan would be like staring at a gorgon, but that's another story.
She is a gorgon, yeah. It'd be kind of bad. Yeah, she'd be kind of scaly all over. It's kind of that. You ever see that series V?
Yeah.
Back in the she's like one of those lizard people. You take that skin off, and she's all lizard on the inside. I'm sure that's true.
Well, think about this. I believe Meghan Markle will be catfighting with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over the inheritance of Nancy Pelosi's flying monkeys. I didn't ask that question up, but I think those two will be over it.
I didn't get an answer, but I think those flying monkeys are very valuable. I think they're valued at $1.2 billion for the whole flock.
Now, as you know, Emmanuel Macron did not want the flying monkeys because, as you know, as you say all the time, the French are more interested in surrender monkeys. That's yours,
that's right.
Not mine.
Horse eating surrender monkeys. That's right. That's right. They are unique. And some of them are eunuch too, like eunuch.
Ooh.
Do you think Macron married a eunuch?
Maybe Macron is the eunuch. If you think about it,
that could be. That would make sense.
French eunuch. What's the difference? Hey, I deserve a hey-o for that one. What do you guys think out there? Is there a difference?
Is there a difference between a eunuch and a unique? Eunuch.
Well,
anyway, let's get back to American coal. That's right. So, speaking of one of my favorite scenes in Zoolander was when Zoolander went back to West Virginia to be a coal miner. Remember that movie, Zoolander?
Yes.
Zoolander. Man, oh man. Blue Steel. I'm trying to get folks to watch that movie because the original is really politically incorrect and funny. And that's where that line, am I taking crazy pills? It's a great movie. And anyway, so not to give away the plot, but Derek Zoolander, goes home to West Virginia to his dad, played by John Voight, and he's clowning around in the coal mines. So, shout out to Zoolander, the coal miners, and to the return of American coal. When I drive to Northern Virginia,
shout out to Zoolander.
That's not Zoolander.
Oh,
although
really? I
he is the Canadian Zoolander.
Between the two,
he is the Canadian Zoolander. So. But when I drive to Northern Virginia from where I live in North Carolina, I go through Suffolk, and there's a area right across in Hampton Roads where there's a big old coal area. The CSX takes and dumps. It's the largest rail transfer to ship point on the planet. Huge mountains of coal, and I'm a big proponent of energy, and we don't. Yeah, God bless our coal miners, loves Christ. Absolutely, we have an opportunity not only through natural gas, through oil, but through coal to really increase our ability to be energy independent. We are blessed more than I think any other geographic location on the planet, especially if we get Greenland. Just saying, with having amazing natural resources. And oh, by the way, we don't have a problem with I'm sorry, I'm ranting, but I'll get past this in 1 second. We don't have a problem with rare earth minerals. We have a problem with the EPA and the left preventing us from mining all of the resources we have control of. We have essentially given that to, we've neglected that. We've given the Chinese that role. We've allowed the Chinese to take that from us because we don't want.
Yep. And the Chinese and the BRICS alliance. And I know
right.
This country tried to use Afghanistan for all that as well. That isn't happening. I got to tell you, Afghanistan has been like, they've managed to fend off Russia, the Soviet Union, I should say, the US and China for a pretty long time. So I wouldn't go sending troops into there again.
No, I wouldn't either.
But you're right. And again, this is a systematic weakening of the West, systematic weakening of the U.S., and a systematic destruction of those in the Midwest who would vote against these liberal policies to form this new world order. And that's why we're losing. That's why we lost control of rare earths, even the ones we can mine ourselves. The funny thing is, we were talking about the destruction of middle class, and Colonel Maness is coming on in just a few moments. But the destruction of the middle class also has to do with the idea that the left has this major coastal bias. They figured they found followers within the second and third generation welfare recipients that they produced, or I should say the perpetually lazy. So they thought, hey, getting rid of the jobs while sending them all overseas would probably make the Midwestern people lazy and third, fourth generation recipients, but didn't realize that they actually wanted jobs and didn't want to not participate in society. And that's what kind of killed that plan. Or else they would have been in power forever, setting up a full dependent class and using that as an example for the rest of Western Europe, which is, by the way, doing that by rendering most towns or many towns and cities dangerous through mass illegal or mass willy-nilly immigration, if you will.
That's right. Willy-nilly is a bad guy. It's almost as bad as Corn Pop.
Right. But not Little Willie. He just didn't want to go home.
That's right. But he did anyway, eventually. That's what I heard anyway. So anyway, speaking of people who are not Willie or Nilly, it's Colonel Rob. Good morning, Rob. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Colonel Shaffer. Good morning, Chris.
Yes, good morning, Colonel. Rob and I haven't seen each other for a long time. We were on stage in Texas last time we were together, right, Rob? It's a long time ago now. It's a couple of years.
Yeah, I think we saw each other briefly down in Florida a couple of months
ago. Oh, that's right, Florida too, very briefly. Down at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago, that's right.
Together in a long time.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that night blurred. You know, anytime you're there at Mar-a-Lago, everything is a blur. Yeah. So anyway, well, it's good to see you, Rob. I'm glad you came on the show. When Chris brought your name up, it's like, oh, I know him. It's like he's a good guy. So it's like, yeah. So it's good to see you. So Rob, we've been talking today about some of the policies of Donald J. Trump, which I think are good. I think the first thing I wanted to bring back up to you is the firing of Admiral Richardson, the military rep to NATO. And I'm seeing people on the left, Jasmine Croquet or Crockett. Is it Croquet or Crockett, Chris?
Croquet. That's her
Croquet.
name. Yes.
It's like
the corn pop.
Yeah, you can.
Congress people.
Yeah. So she's upset. Croquet or Crockett, depending on who she is upset because she got fired because she refused to hang pictures. What do you think, Rob? Is that the reason the admiral got fired?
What? Because she refused to hang the pictures?
That's right. That's the reason she's saying.
That's potential. That's a potential if it's true. Now, our friend Jack posted that.
No, it's true.
He
true.
doesn't normally post things unless he knows it's true.
No, I know it's true. I know it's true.
Anyway.
But, no, I know
but
it's
the
true.
bigger issue is the audacity of getting in front of her people and telling them we're going to wait them out. It's only 4 years. That is embracing the resistance. And it falls right under, you know this, Tony, Article 88 of the UCMJ. I'm not a general advocate of using that because I've had it used against me in the Clinton years. You probably remember they called us all the officers into briefing rooms and said, don't forget Article 88 of the UCMJ. You can't disparage the commander in chief and these certain.
Yeah, I didn't care.
All that shit.
I didn't care. I didn't care.
But
yes, I know, but I didn't care. Yeah, I know.
She's active duty and a senior officer. And in this case, in those types of cases, I think it's appropriate for that. And she not only needs to be fired, I think she needs to be looked at for some type of UCMJ action.
Well, beyond that, now one of the issues you and I have spoken about quite a bit is the woke issue. So she was sent, by all accounts, people I trust and am mentored by have told me that her job when she went to be the commandant of the Navy War College was to turn it woke. And this isn't, I mean, yeah, it's one thing to have Mark Milley wearing high heels, but another thing to turn an entire service into the DEI service of preference. By all accounts, she was successful. And I've been talking to the folks at the Pentagon. I had some meetings last week with folks at the Pentagon, and they're telling me, no surprise, that the Navy is the most resistant service to returning to normal. Do you believe that?
I believe that in many aspects, not necessarily the service academy aspect, the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, but it's a race between the Air Force Academy and the Naval Academy, to be honest with you. But Shoshona there, I think is her name.
My Shoshona. Here's a song about that. My Shoshona.
I know. I had to put that out there. By the way, I like the Air Corps T-shirt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, I figured I wore that for you today.
But,
yes.
and I say this as a Navy War College graduate. That at the time I went there, it was still considered the Harvard of military war colleges in the United States and really around the world. But the people that I talk to, and I still stay in contact with a few folks that interact daily at the Navy War College, agree with you. She was entirely successful by turning the U.S. College of Naval Warfare completely woke, completely DEI, and of course that's infecting the wider service.
Yeah. So you won't be. This won't be a surprise to you. But when the memo came down, and I've made leadership aware of this at both the White House and the Pentagon, the Navy was attempting, and I'm not joking. The Navy was attempting to get last minute bottom surgeries done at Walter Reed. It's like they up until the morning the memo came out and said you can no longer do transgender surgery. They were trying to get them under the wire. They had to have a Navy captain, medical Navy captain, call a surgeon at Belvoir who was already all suited up, ready to cut, directing that surgeon to stop. That's how committed they were, Rob. This is like, no. I'm calling you. I'm directing you. Don't do the surgery. That's how committed they were. So does that surprise you at all? It didn't surprise me.
No, not at all. And as a matter of fact, breaking just last night, Sam Shoemaker goes by Samasaur on X, who ran the Terminal CWO whistleblower site while he was still on active duty, broke the news that he's got a whistleblower in a military medical facility that was in a morning meeting just a few days ago that talked about a transgender military child, male to female, coming in, and they were demanding that they use the appropriate name and pronouns and all that. And the individual was coming in to be assessed for puberty blockers to stop puberty. The child is prepubescent, according to Sam's reporting, and that's just in the last 24 hours. So they are totally committed to this cultural Marxism, to the transgender nonsense, and it's absolute nonsense, Tony. It's so nonsensical.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Exactly right, because they've tried to put it in law and are continuing to do that. I'm sure you saw the bill out in Colorado that's trying to make it to where parents get their child taken away if they won't agree to use their preferred pronouns, for God's sake.
Cult of crazy. It's indeed.
And what makes this so dangerous is that the entire United States Armed Forces is totally and completely committed to not just this Marxism, but the cultural Marxism of DEI, the absolute unlawful orders and implementation of unlawful orders from the COVID-19 vaccine. I don't know if you're watching what's going on social media with the release.
That's not my focus, but I do see it. I do see it.
My attention is the president and Secretary Hegseth gave orders that they will bring these people that were harmed by the COVID vaccine mandate back in, especially those that were forced out. And the USD PNR, the personnel and readiness team that's in place, is not on our side, and it's not on those people.
No.
And you're seeing
every day. I'm with you.
And the personnel office, the presidential personnel, has got to get moving to get Hegseth surrounded by more than just Sean Parnell.
This is I love Sean. Problem, full disclosure, Sean and I are friends. So but let me. I think you're going down a path here. I'm glad you opened this door because I wanted to go down this anyway. So to that point, the INR folks, the reserve folks, they are on his side. You've got a bureaucracy, Rob, which probably shares Shoshana Richardson's view that we're just going to wait them out. You need to start firing people, as far as I'm concerned. So, Rob, would you be comfortable with basically just firing people? And I'd rather people be fired and these things vacated until we can find someone, rather than leave someone in there. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with that, and I know that goes against the quickness that the president and the secretary wanted, especially on the personnel and readiness side in USD. But they don't even have a nominee yet for the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. It's all acting people, and it's surrounded by bureaucrats.
Raising Kane is going through confirmation. Proud American woman. Yeah, I can't text everything, but yes, he's doing well.
So they need to be fired and just put a pause on the policy until the seats are filled with the right people that will be bold.
Well, they're not even putting some of the right people in. No, let me point out something that happened this morning. Did you know, Rob, that according to our current ASD Solik, we're not authorized to strike terrorist targets in Mexico. It's like, what? And let me bring it up here. It's Colby. What's the guy's name? Colby Jenkins. Colby Jenkins said during hearings yesterday that it's against how did he phrase it? Let me look at this because I want to be precise. We will not strike terrorist targets in Mexico. It's like, where has he been living? Now, just for the Patriots to understand, and we have had a record going back before. What's going on here? Okay, here we go. Let me wait till this thing straightens out. I don't know why this does.
Well, there's a picture of Colby Jenkins right here.
There he goes. Yeah. We have a record. Yeah, there he is. Mm-hmm. So during his
I'm not hearing Tony.
Are we back yet?
Yeah,
sorry about that,
Tony.
folks. I don't know what anyway. So let me go on. So Colby Jenkins, during his confirmation yesterday, I know I'm trying to get past the lag. Anyway, Colby Jenkins said that we don't have the authority to strike cartels, which have now been designated as terrorist organizations. We don't have the authority to strike with Mexico. We do. This is one thing where I don't understand how this guy got elected and would say such a stupid thing. So there's several things I want to throw in here. First off, we did punitive expeditions into Mexico in 1916 against a guy named Pancho Villa. General Pershing did that. And by the way, we've done that several times also. During the counter-drug operations, we've routinely done things that have taken on targets in Latin America. Most importantly, my friend Mark Bowden wrote a book called Killing Pablo. The Pablo in that title is Pablo Escobar, where we were able to go after and defeat Medellin and Cali cartels from Mexico to Colombia. So I don't know what this guy's thinking. I don't know why he's not familiar with history. But the idea, Rob, and the reason I wanted to lay this out is that the message, as far as I'm concerned, we will consider lethal options for terrorist leaders everywhere and anywhere. So what do you think?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, but I think I got the gist of it. Look, we are still under an authorization to use military force from Congress on foreign terrorist organizations that are a threat to the United States and our interests, our vital national interests. So I don't know where Jenkins is coming from, but I'll tell you what the problem is. You saw it over his left shoulder in the damn picture, Tony. Sorry about my profanity, but this is beginning to piss me off. And I have to be transparent. Right. I threw my name in the hat. Yeah. For a job in this administration. I don't want anybody to think that I'm talking out of my you-know-what here and not being transparent. So my name's in the hat for some of these positions. And that particular one at USD, PNR, it is in there. And I was advocating for somebody else to be the ASD Solic, a couple of other people. And this guy's over his left shoulder is an SES flag, the Senior Executive Service flag. And that's part of the problem in this bureaucracy of the United States government today at the federal level is the senior executive.
I know.
They're the equivalent of general officers. And somebody has been plucking these guys and gals and putting them in these politically appointed positions when they should never be considered for that because they are the problem that the president of the United States was elected to fix. And if they don't take control of this and stop doing it, the president of the United States, 47th administration, is going to fail when it comes to fixing this kind of issue. And this kind of issue is not just DOD. This, as you know, it spreads into the intelligence community, spreads into places like the National Security Agency, spreads into the National Security Council, and eventually spreads into the legal system where people are getting criminally charged when they shouldn't be. And the legal system has been weaponized against even the average citizen of an American that walked into the Capitol carrying a flag on a little stick and being called a terrorist with a weapon. So that's where we're at in this, and we've got to fix it. And man, I got to tell you, it's pissing me off to see this because we're getting good people at the top, like I mentioned already, Pete Hegseth and Sean Parnell, and now Elbridge Colby was confirmed yesterday, but they're not being surrounded with a team that is absolutely adamantly embracing the boldness and the direction and orders of the president of the United States. And that has got to be addressed. The guys
that's what I want to hear.
Presidential personnel have got to get on this, and they've got to get on it today.
Oh. They're not. But Trump needs to fire that person in charge of the personnel because, as Bud McFarland taught me, personnel is policy. The people you pick will be the policy, period. So as far as I'm concerned, Colby needs to be fired. Let me tell you what the correct answer should have been. Madam Congresswoman, whatever you want to say, whatever honorary, we have a history of conflict with Mexico. That conflict goes back to Montezuma before there was a Mexican government when, elements of the U.S. military invaded Mexico. We also had punitive expeditions, which have required the United States to go into Mexico to defend our national security. There's been a drug war ongoing since the 1970s, one which has resulted in multiple drug cartels that have morphed into terrorist organizations. Those terrorist organizations now threaten the homeland. We will, as a policy, examine all options, lethal and otherwise, to be considered to take out leaders and specific legitimate targets in any part of Latin America, period. That should have been the answer, not this, we don't have the authority. That was the absolute wrong answer. It sends the wrong, if nothing else, it sends the wrong message, to your point, Rob, to the people who are paying attention, which is us, the American taxpayers. Like, no, we are examining options. And by the way, we do have the authority. He's absolutely incorrect when he said that. It's like mind-boggling, and it tells me two things. First, he doesn't understand over half of what SOCOM is. So over half of SOCOM, I'm not giving away any secrets here, is actually hidden within the tiered units within the black operations world. So for him to say that fundamentally tells me he has no understanding of what SOCOM does. Like, what? What the hell are you talking about? I'm serious. It's like, my career was on that other side. It's like, okay, you don't know what we do then if you say that. Secondly, the idea that he's not fully leaning forward to express President Trump's and Pete Hegseth's policy of like, no, we're leaning forward. And if you're a member of the cartel, I'd be looking over my shoulder, period. Am I wrong? Am I being overly aggressive?
Your answer was too long. It should have just been, look, we have historical precedent. We have legal authorization from you in Congress. And if I was in a cartel, I would not be sleeping in the same place every night.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Well said.
And that's where we're coming from. And you're not going to do this to this country anymore.
This should have been on.
There you go. Should be fired right now. I mean, if he hasn't had a phone call from Trump saying, "Hey, you're out because that was a dumb idea, a dumb answer, and you're not compatible with this administration, so go ahead and retire."
That's the thing. They got to start doing that, Rob. They've got to start saying, "Okay, we gave you your shot. You were good." It's like Normandy. It's like, well, you didn't make it over the berm. You can go back to the landing craft and back to England. You're not going to Germany with us. You're not on Patton's team. But that's what you need right now. You need Patton type leaders saying, we're just going to go forward, period.
Somebody's got to woolly pip that guy.
It's the same approach. It's the same approach that they used at the very beginning when they got rid of all three JAGs, because the JAGs gave bad guidance and advice to the commanders, and the commanders made unlawful decisions based on that guidance. They got rid of the 4-star that was the A-Vice at USIT Air Force, because and Jim Slife was a guy that I know. I sat next to him in the Command and Staff College for 6 months. Okay, seemed like a good guy. Went on to be a 4-star general, but he was Mr. Woke, Mr. DEI in SOCOM and in the special operations community, and he needed to go. They did that. They're bringing Raisin Kane in out of retirement, who was a reservist, for goodness sake, but he got the job done, and I'm great with that. What the hell are we doing with the rest of these positions? Because we can't get it done if we don't clean them out. And worse, if we appoint people that are part of the problem, we're never going to get it done. And it's got to get done on behalf of the American people, because these cartels have to be eliminated. They control, Tony. They control all the lines of communication, logistically, comms, everything across that southern border right now, and they're operating at will in our country, which is why we have 100,000 deaths from fentanyl every year. That's part of the reason.
So exactly, bingo. That would have been part of my answers. Like, look, we have recognized one of our peer competitors, China, has been engaged in a form of unconventional warfare by using Mexico and the cartels as a cutout to weaken the infrastructure of the American people at the fundamental level, at the city level. Therefore, they are a threat that is worth our focus regarding DOD. That's it. That's the answer. But yet this guy Jenkins didn't give that answer. It's like, we don't have the authority. Of course you do have the authority, especially when you justify it when you link China to fentanyl, fentanyl to the cartels to coming across the border. And and I've said this before, Rob, the border's been under control. It's just not our control. It's been under the cartel's control.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Everything, all the comms, everything, logistics, everything.
What a lot of media members and a lot of people on the left tend to forget, and some people, like you were talking about with the personnel and people kind of in troll with this one, enemy combatants don't always wear uniforms. And that's the big one right now. It's when a media member tries to give let's say a low information voter an image of an enemy combatant, it has to be a march of a bunch of tanks and military members and people in uniform. No, we have people who filter into this country, set up terrorist cells. They set up terrorist cells in countries surrounding us. They also bring in drugs to the country. These should be considered enemy combatants when it comes to anything else, because they're trying to destroy the country in other ways besides with just guns and ammunition.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And that's been a big issue ever since 9/11, really. The Guantanamo Bay prisoners are continuing to get away with just being in prison and getting fat on American food and everything, when they really some of them ought to have been executed by now. And it's because of this confusion that's generated intentionally by the legal community, by the left in this country, about the difference between enemy combatants and whatever. The Hamas Nazis get away with it every single day because they go out and fight in civilian clothes. Then they parade around at their little ceremonies in their uniforms, but they get counted as civilian casualties. So it's crazy that we put up with this kind of stuff. And the president's team putting up with putting a guy like Jenkins in place at all tells me we've got a much more serious problem than I thought we did. I've been kind of being patient and trying not to hammer on the personnel side too much, but I've seen some indicators and leading up to this week, and it's just absolutely, we need to call to get the Undersecretary of Defense's Office for Personnel and Readiness filled with Trump people, and all of the service assistant secretaries for manpower and reserve affairs have to be Trump people that are going to be bold and take the right actions, or this job will not get done. There are 100 people that I would have preferred to be the ASD Solic for the United States of America.
Rob, you and I together. No, he's a white world SF guy and a politician. Just leave it there. He's an academy graduate. Nothing against U.S. Army Academy. I've been to West Point. A lot of my friends are West Pointers. Some of them even know who their parents are. Just saying, it's kind of a bonus. It's true. But I'm just saying. And then he basically was a white world guy. Now, I don't want to be getting into this white world, black world thing, but I'm telling you, if you don't understand both sides, SOCOM is like a big old Oreo cookie. It really is. It's like it's got big old, you got the nugget in the middle, and you got the both sides of which So unless you understand all the ingredients, you don't understand SOCOM. And this guy clearly does not get it because his answer did not. It's like it was not nuanced. It was not like I understand your question. There's obviously some debate going on about should we do it. I'm just telling you that the policy is we will pursue and eliminate terrorist targets wherever they're at, anywhere on the globe, period. That is the policy. I cannot give you specifics. That should have been his answer.
Hey, I would have ventured that we should have taken those Trinidad gang members to Guantanamo Bay if they were actually. Remember, there was a chance these people were working with the Maduro government. Those are sanctioned enemy.
I still think they were.
So then we should have taken them to Guantanamo Bay and try to get the proof, beat the proof out of them, if you will. What did I say anything? I'm sorry. To discuss ideas about how to gain the proof.
We will We will do collaboration.
Yes,
enthusiastic collaboration.
They'll have a group session about that.
Yeah,
about their feelings and things like that.
They'll feel a lot better after we stop. Whatever. I don't want to say.
But no, we just put them away, and we just put them down, and they should be happy they're in the prison down there, because at this point, or at least the Maduro government should be happy we brought them over.
Chris, People spend big money going to to the Caribbean. They should be happy they're, at all expenses paid resort on the Caribbean. What more do you want, for God's sake, right?
It is. Have you seen the beach there? The water?
It's beautiful there. Yeah, it's like, hey, it's a place of beauty. They should be happy we're not sending them to, say, I don't know, Greenland. We can do that.
We don't want them in Greenland anyway. It's going to be ours
soon. So anyway, the last thing I want to hit, which is something you and I have spoken about before a little bit, is the fact that, okay, we're doing tariffs. I've got this question from the Australians too. It's like, well, what's the end game? The end game is to return the United States to the place of manufacturing dominance, everything from pharmaceuticals to steel. One of the things that happened as a sidebar is when you lose the ability to manufacture because businesses move their stuff over to China for cheaper labor, you lose the ability to have organic capability to rise up and do things. So one of the things I said the other day in an interview I did, Rob, and you probably know this as well as me, because you're an Air Force guy especially. So at the surrender of the Japanese in Tokyo Harbor when on the Missouri, right after MacArthur said these proceedings are closed, or I think he said they're closed. That was the cue for 800 B-29s to fly over. There was an hour show of force. This is where it's like, if there was ever any doubt about our ability to win the war, you shouldn't have showed up, because can you imagine 800 B-29s flying at one time? That's what they did. And plus, then they had the B-24s, the P-51s, the Hellcats, and all that. But basically an hour. But we did that by manufacturing. United States was the greatest industrial power on the planet. That's what Trump's trying to bring us back to, right? Am I wrong on that, Rob? That's what ultimately the objective here is.
That is the single objective that this tariff program has to achieve, is reshoring our manufacturing ability.
Exactly.
And it goes well beyond the big things like ships, which I've been talking about a lot lately, because shipbuilding is something that we are so far behind on. If we don't get control of that, we'll never be able to adequately deter China from getting into a violent conflict with anybody, let alone with us. So we've got to fix that. But you mentioned steel. Somebody said to me just in the last 72 hours, well, we can't make steel here. We don't have the raw materials. Well, that's BS. We do. We just keep our miners and closed our mines and everything because we got these idiots chasing this fake climate change BS. Over at the EPA. And Lee Zeldin needs to put a stop to every bit of that. He needs to, by executive order, eliminate every restriction on mining, on steel production, all of those types of hard manufacturing things that are the reason why we could put 800 flying combat-ready B-29s over Tokyo for an hour at the end of World War II. It's that manufacturing.
Incredible.
Base. It wasn't all military. It wasn't all military when we started, but it was a manufacturing base that was right here in America, and the owners of the companies stepped up. And by the end of World War II, we had to destroy something like 10,000 B-17s that had never been flown other than through testing.
No, I know. It's insane.
Because that's where we need to go. And if we don't go there, then all this tariff work will be for naught.
We need to get back to the basics. So, and for those who doubt us, they shouldn't. And by the way, for those, go to Alaska. Go check out Alaska. They're talking about in the chat right now. So there's a song, a famous song, which I think Chris probably likes too. I can't speak for Chris, but I think he does. The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. What was the Edmund Fitzgerald carrying when it went down? Do you know? It's called taconite. Taconite is the precursor of steel. So to your point, there's no lack of precursors. There's plenty of stuff left over in Wisconsin and Michigan. It's all the environmentalists. Oh, we don't want you taking that taconite out of the ground. No, we could be independent. There's no lack of resources. This has been a political degradation of our capabilities based on the left. So Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, there it is. There's the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Good song, by the way. Hey, you guys were talking about producing these big planes, the B-12s, the B-15s, the B-45s. But we did produce the B-52s, didn't we?
That's right. And they're still going strong. By the way, Rob, hey Rob, did you hear they're going to re-engine the B-52s? They're going to make them all British now. They're going to give them bad teeth.
Yeah, we've been trying to do that since I was like 22 years old, and they're finally getting it done, and that's good. Isn't it a great piece of American equipment? And the B1 could go the same way if we put the effort into it, and it is going that direction, and we're going to because we can't afford that.
No, I think re-engineering and re-upgrading current airframes is a great way to go. Look, we've got the C5. Galaxy C5M, which is the retooled, upgraded C5. C-17s are wonderful. They've just done the F-15EX, which basically is a digitized version of the F-15s, which are 95% as good as the F-35. Just saying, for about 1/4 of the price.
Yep.
Just saying. The B1 could be retooled with new digital stuff. We've got the Raiders coming. We've got all sorts of options, which I don't think we need to. We can look at well, I don't want to say they're inexpensive. I can say they're less expensive than some of the other things we're talking about doing. But I think having the B-52s do low-level penetrations into Russia would be fun. Don't you think, Chris? Could they do that singing their own private Idaho? Is that possible?
Or the girl from Ipanema goes to Greenland. By the way,
that's a good song.
That maybe Trump could bring her along. Again, I want to close up with. I want to give you guys this one here. Did you check out those protests, the pro-Hamas protests in New York City recently?
No.
Well, this is a reaction from some New Yorkers. They dropped garbage into the protesters. You got to check.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, I heard they were hit by dog poo.
The only problem with this is it all just blends in. You don't notice it because you throw it in there. It blends in with the protesters.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't tell the difference.
Yeah. There it is. Here's some incoming.
Away. Or is it shoots away like Dykes did? Shoots away.
That's right. Yeah. Note to self. The protesters don't care if they smell like shit because they kind of are. Just saying.
I don't think they've bathed in a while.
Sad fact.
They're all paid anyway. I'm having a guy on my show that runs a company.
So
protesters.
But Jilly number one, thank you. We always aim to educate, inform, and entertain. Right, Chris? That's our job.
Absolutely.
Educate, inform, entertain.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we try to call.
So anyway, yeah, that's right. So it was fun. Rob, we want to have you come back soon. Don't be a stranger. This was fun.
Absolutely. Had a great time. Thanks for having me on.
We'll have you back. And then obviously we want to continue this discussion because I don't think people fully understand. There's actually a great deal of thought given to what President Trump's doing. It's just, have you noticed that all the experts on COVID are now experts on tariffs?
Yeah, I did notice that. And they're failing miserably.
What? It's like, oh yeah, you guys are all experts on COVID, on distancing, and all this other stuff. And then they were experts on the Russia collusion narrative. It's like, oh, okay. And now they're all experts on tariffs. Like, man, I guess we're just stupid. We're just stupid. I don't know what to say. We're just
those intersectional feminist classes are pretty broad, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, I wouldn't use pretty broad and intersectional feminism in the same sentence. I would not put that together. That's not good.
Right. Yeah, that's not a good sight.
Not pretty and intersectional. No, no, that's a bridge too far.
Ooh, a bridge to nowhere.
We gotta go. It's been a great show. So, thank Rob, Colonel Maness, my friend, it's always good to see you, sir. We'll have you back on soon, and I guess Trixie,
and George.
George. George sent me a sticker, a decal. I got it, George. As you text, I just didn't get out of the envelope, but I'll have it Monday.
Okay, we got it.
So, all right. Well, Rob, thanks for being here. Chris, always stay off the beach, especially if you're drunk. Don't do anything like Ed McMahon would have done. Just saying.
No daily Bloody Marys.
We're going to do an Ed McMahon thing sometime soon, too, right? And I've got my Karnak hat. We want to do something with.
Yeah, we need to do this because it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some Karnak stuff. It'll be fun. So
I look forward to
Tarmac, I think it is, right?
Tarmac.
Yes.
The son of Karnak, Tarmac. It'll be fun.
That's my.
That's right. Hold on. Oh, let's do one right now. Okay, hold on. Sinbad. I have to over there.
Okay, what is it?
Sinbad. You got to say Sinbad again. You got to say it back.
Sinbad.
You got to say it a couple times. Sinbad.
Sinbad.
That's right. And all right, the answer is summarize the Bible.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's a good one.
See, we can do this. We can do this.
Sweet.
Right?
Yes, you can do it, man. That's awesome.
I like this. All right.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care, folks. We'll see you Monday.
I'll see you Monday.